Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Addicts. Get ready to explore the past, present, and future of MMA with your hosts, Seth Oliver and Ben Korn.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 14 of the Fight Addicts. Guys, Ben is actually with me today. Welcome back, Ben, after missing episode number 13.
What's up, man? Sorry to miss Mr. Gutierrez.
Yeah, he was a good guy, good guest.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to getting him on again.
And he will be back on back in August is the planned time. So you guys, y'all can wait for him to be back then.
I want to ask him about that elbow from the bottom that he landed in his UFC debut.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
It was. So Francis Ngannou knocking out Junior Dos Santos. Ben, you actually changed your mind at the last minute. You called a JDS wrestling match on Ngannou. That's what you tweeted me whenever I tweeted you.
I said plot twist. JDS wrestles him.
And I thought that was for real. So.
Well, I mean, I think that would be the way that JDS would win the fight. I don't think that he wins. I don't think that he wins whenever they go out there and bang.
Since he's not going to outstrike Ngannou. Like, I don't think there's any reality where JDS gets the knockout. Maybe like 1 in 50 chance. I give him like a 2% chance to knock out Ngannou. But I'm also pretty high on Ngannou right now. So I am kind of riding that bandwagon.
I feel like the percentage goes up the longer the fight goes.
Yeah. Because we haven't seen Francis' cardio.
Oh, we saw Francis' cardio.
Since Stipe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does Francis get a title shot after this? Like, does he fight the winner of DC and Stipe too?
He probably fights Stipe after DC retires. That's probably what's going to happen.
Okay, so you think they fight for the vacant belt?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't think that John Jones makes the move at the heavyweight? We're going to see Francis versus Stipe?
If
or
Jones
have you thought about
moves
that
to
yet?
heavyweight, then he'll fight the champion instantly.
Okay. But I'm saying if there's like the vacant belt, like what you're saying.
So DC beats Stipe?
DC beats Stipe.
Yeah.
He retires.
Mm-hmm.
And then John moves up and says, I'm going to fight for that vacant belt.
So then he'll fight Ngannou, I guess.
So you think, okay.
Right? Wouldn't that make sense?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that's how that plays out if there is a vacant belt at that point.
Although, I don't know if there's some kind of... the question is what's going on in 205.
Yeah, 205.
A year from now.
Well, but 205 is starting to get prospects, so I feel like it could get pretty interesting. Because it's not as shallow as it was, like, even at the beginning of this year. It's changed a lot. You know what I mean? Because now we've got Dominic Reyes, Alexander Rakic, Rockhold's moving up, Weidman's moving up. Like, it's starting to get some players in there.
But do you think anyone that makes 185 pounds beats John Jones?
No, I do not.
Yeah, that's not a thing that's going to happen because I don't really think that a lot of guys that make 265 pounds beat John Jones. I think it gets real interesting whenever you find some guy that's cutting to 265 and has knockout power like Ngannou. I think that's where it gets interesting. But I also saw what Curtis Blades did to Ngannou, where he was like, I'm taking you down.
Yeah, in the first fight.
And I don't think that John Jones is going to be as hittable as Curtis Blades was. And I think his wrestling is going to be as good, if not better. His power might not be. He might not be as physically strong in the first round, first burst as Blades, but that's not when Blades took Ngannou down, repeatedly, and held him there. So I think that, Jones doesn't get hit, and he'll take him down.
I got you.
Yeah.
So do you think Francis Ngannou, by however means, will be the champion at the end of 2019? Because that was my question for you tonight.
At the end of 2019?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No.
So then who do you think will be? Is it still going to be, will DC have vacated it yet if he beats Stipe? I know you don't think Stipe's going to win, so that's not really a choice for you. Do you think John Jones is going to come up? How do you think the heavyweight division is going to play out?
If John Jones comes up, DC will stay to defend against John Jones.
And who wins that trilogy fight?
DC.
Seriously? You think so?
At heavyweight. Allow him to be dad bod.
Yeah.
And I think he can beat John Jones.
I hope that he would. That would be like my prayer. But I don't know who I'd pick. There's so many variables in that could change that fight. But I mean, they're both so good. I don't know.
The problem is, I think that's a lot easier for me to say 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
Now DC is just old, and he's already lost to him twice. And it's just like, But if you have him at all of his powers, and Jones is being like Olympically tested, and yeah, we'll see where it's at. You know?
Okay. So now moving on to Junior Dos Santos, who you think is next for him? Do you have anybody in mind in the heavyweight division? Because I was thinking maybe Alexei Oleinik, because they're both coming off losses, and we haven't seen that fight yet.
Has he fought Ben Rothwell?
I don't know if he has.
They should fight.
Okay. I like that pick. Who would you take in that? I'd take JDS. I don't really see Ben Rothwell coming up and knocking him out.
I want to see what he looks like at the weigh-in. I want to see what Ben Rothwell looks like at the weigh-in. Because when Ben Rothwell popped and he like murdered Brandon Vera, I think it was, that he just went out there because he had abs. And I was like, oh, Lord, that is a dangerous, dangerous man.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yeah, well, he's juicy. And it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
that makes sense. Yeah, if he's got abs.
It's like the Stephan Bonner weigh-in before Anderson Silva. He's up there doing that thing where he's like posing like that, and he's got extra muscle right here on his ribs.
I was about to say, for all of our audio listeners, Ben is posing, putting
absolutely.
his hand on his head.
Yeah, but there was muscle where there's not even supposed, like he was defined in a way that was like a bodybuilder in a competition. And then Anderson Silva finished him with a body blow, which is hilarious. And then he tested positive. Like instantly, both of those things happened.
Shows you how good Anderson is. All right, so moving on to Benavidez and Formiga. Benavidez gets the TKO in that fight. Yeah, and you called that one. You picked Joe, didn't you? Or did you pick Formiga? Because no, I picked Formiga, and I can't remember who you said.
I said that I really hope that Benavidez wins.
Because you want to see that rematch.
He's the only viable fight, yeah.
Yeah, I think that he has a good chance against Henry again.
He does.
He looked good in that Formiga fight.
Yeah.
Like, very good. I was very impressed with him.
I mean, he did it before.
Yeah, but I mean,
he just did it again.
Yeah, but at the fact, like where Formiga was at now, like being the number one contender and everything, he looked really good.
Yeah,
very impressed.
And I hope that the same thing happens that it's a good sign whenever he's able to beat one of his former, like he already beat Formiga, and then he beat him again definitively both times. He was like, "I'm your daddy." So whenever he's going to fight Henry again. And he already beat Henry.
Yeah.
So it bodes well that he does well against someone that he's already been in there with, because the other example of that is Demetrius Johnson, who in that rematch is one of the most blow-your-brains-out one-shot knockouts, definitely at 125 pounds, that there's ever been. And that's including like things where John Lineker didn't make weight, and he's a monster puncher. But like, just good Lord, Demetrius blasted Joseph Benavidez into another dimension. Completely eliminated like the only guy that could really hang until Cejudo showed up.
Yeah.
He was like, nope, well, there's a 1A and a clear number 2. Like the 1B is clearly so far behind the 1A, but everybody else is so far below the 1B that it's not really fair.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Damian Maia also showed off why he is the most phenomenal striker in MMA after he beat Anthony Rocco Martin. Now, a bunch of people were high on Rocco Martin like before that fight. I saw a bunch of people on like MMA Twitter were picking him. I always had Damian Maia. Who did you have?
Don't pick against Damian Maia. I would pick Damian Maia in that fight. I mean, I didn't say it out loud, but yeah, I would. I assumed that he was going to win some kind of thing like that. Him and Jake Shields are going to win some kind of thing that looks like that if they don't tap somebody. If you really engage with them, if you get on the ground with them, you're probably getting tapped. But the whole game is, I'm going to stay standing up. And if you feel like if you win that you'll win the fight. So,
yeah. Now, I want to see that Maia Sanchez fight, because I know that was the thing that was being talked about. And we were talking about this a little bit before we went on air. But would you want to see that? Diego Sanchez and Damian Maia throwdown? Because Damian's going to be retiring soon. So it's like, why not go out with a bang?
The final score is somehow 31-30 on all cards.
Just something crazy.
Diego Sanchez.
Who refs that fight? Like, who makes that interesting that we need to see in
Peoples.
There? Yeah. I tweeted Cecil Peoples on your punch fight. Or is that what it's called? Punch fight?
Punch fight. Yeah, it was just the next fight on like Sherdog's like upcoming thing. Some promotion called Punch Fight. I was like, what a great name for a promotion.
Yeah.
go to that.
Sensei, we're going to check out Punch Fight. Might be doing some reviews of it later, depending on how good it is. But anyways, back to UFC. Vince Pichel from Hell.
Yeah.
You like that nickname, or do you think it's retarded?
It works.
You like it? I went back and forth with it, but I think at the end I said it was a good nickname. Like Vince from Hell, Pichel. I liked it. He beat out Roosevelt Roberts. It was just, kind of a boring fight. No fights got fight of the night.
No, man. That wasn't a boring fight.
You didn't think so?
The Roosevelt Roberts fight where...
I thought, okay. It was like...
Michelle applied the pressure in that fight. That was a good fight, man.
I wasn't very entertained in it. I don't know. I guess I was just in a casual mindset during that.
He took some shots. Like, he just ate it in a lot of ways. That, like, his chin was phenomenal, and his resolve was impressive. They both tried to hurt each other, and that's what I want to see. So, kudos.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, you got it awarded to you for that. And then wrapping out the main card, Drew Dober and Alonzo Menifield both got knockouts in the first round. Now, did you watch the Menifield-Paul Craig fight?
Yes.
Yeah, I figured you had a lot to say about Paul Craig's little intro.
Oh, I didn't see the intro. I just saw the fight.
Didn't? Okay, so he got, for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see my hands. He got super close to Menifield. Paul Craig did. So, like, as Buffer's introducing him, he walks, like, past that midway point. He gets, like, right up in his face. And you even have Buffer kind of stand there with the mic, like, separating them. Like, it was pretty intense. I was like, this guy kind of deserves to be knocked out after doing something like that.
Well, he got what he had coming to him, apparently.
Yeah, that's what I've written down in my notes.
Well, that was going to be my, GSP moment, was the fact that Bisping gets to call the unconscious man getting just brutalized on the ground. Because, like, Bisping has been there. Like, he's like, well, he's clearly unconscious, and then he applies the rape choke, and it's just and like trying to swing around Herb Dean. Like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay. I didn't know exactly what had happened because I literally fast forwarded to when the fight started because I didn't expect there to be some kind of weirdness before the bell.
Yeah, in a Paul Craig Alonzo Menifield fight, you're not really expecting something like that.
He's a geography teacher, Paul Craig.
Really?
Yeah.
Up in Scotland.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his nickname? He has a crazy nickname that I don't have written down at the moment.
I don't know.
It's something weird. Dang. All right. I thought I had Shirt Dog pulled up, but I don't. So I'm going to have to look that up afterward because that don't know me. But moving on to the prelims real quick. There were a couple of fights I wanted to point out. Your boy Eric Anders is back in the win column. Huge fan of Eric Anders since I'm a huge Alabama fan. So it's always nice seeing a former Bama player doing well.
Yeah.
The referee in that fight went
I'm
full
not an
Yamasaki.
Alabama fan, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, don't associate us.
I'm a Georgia Tech fan, as you can see. And I will ride with them whether they're good or not. Just saying.
Kind of like Cara Parisian.
Yeah, like everything that you're – like anything that you should – if you're a fan of something, if they're making an attempt to bring you the highest quality of whatever it is as a team or as a fighting organization or whatever it is, you should remain loyal to them even if they lose.
Just like us. We have our good episodes. We have our bad episodes, but we're always growing, getting better. Yeah. We're going to turn this into a big thing. So,
exactly.
You guys, we really appreciate the OGs, especially you guys that send in questions, which we're about to get into.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being at the beginning of this ride. So Ben and I both say thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Yeah. But back to Eric Anders. Like I said, the referee went full Yamasaki with that stoppage. Couple hits too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Even though, I was rooting for Eric Anders, but you hate to see a guy go out like that and have to be a warrior, in Yamasaki's words.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully he'll remember his kids' names, but we'll see.
Exactly.
And then the final thing that I had written down was Jared Gordon won by unanimous decision. I know a lot of people are pretty high on Jared Gordon. He's like a young prospect coming up. But
Didn't see it.
Okay, well, I was going to ask you, lightweight is pretty stacked, so I was going to ask you how you thought Jared Gordon would do for the rest of his career there, because he moved up from featherweight to lightweight.
I need to watch it. How tall is he?
I would say like 5'10", 5'11".
Okay,
he didn't pop
there
out.
You go. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that he'll do well. He'll probably crack the top 15, but I don't think that he'll ever challenge for a belt or anything like that. But, I wish the guy the best of luck. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see as it plays out.
Yeah.
So getting into listener questions for this week. We have 2 to answer for you guys. The first one is from @JAlbert4, which is my little brother who likes to send us in questions, and we're very thankful for. Thank you, John, for this. But he said, will Francis be the heavyweight champ or be a future champ by defeating JJ, which implies John Jones? So, Ben, I'm going to let you answer first with that one.
Well, first, let me say, John, he will not be a champ in that he will not make 205 pounds unless they cut him off at the waist. You
don't think could he cut both arms off and make 205? Or would it literally have to be waist? Like, you think he can make it with his arms?
Each arm weighs 30 pounds. I feel like he's probably got more weight in his legs than his arms.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That's
I'm
why
saying, do you think he'd be close enough to make the cut with both of his arms off?
Have to be in the sauna, armless.
Yeah, that's like the promo. That's the embedded. Is him in the sauna.
Him coming out of surgery with no arms, so he can be the champ.
Yeah.
John tries to crucifix him, but there's nothing there. Like, gets him down in position, and he's like, "What? I don't know."
Yeah. So to answer the question, instead of talking about an armless Francis Ngannou, do you think he will be the next heavyweight champion? No matter how it plays out, like we talked about earlier, no matter about it being vacated or him.
I don't think so. I think that he loses to everyone that's gonna fight him for the belt. So he loses to Jones? He loses to DC. He loses to Stipe.
I was about to say, so you have him. He's like top second tier. Like, he just can't make that first tier, in your opinion. Like, he's not going to beat DC. He doesn't beat Stipe. He doesn't beat John Jones, which is just what you just said.
Yeah.
So he's not in that top tier.
I hope he beats John Jones. I hope he beats John Jones. I feel like John Jones is the best one, is the most winnable fight for him. Jones is the most winnable fight.
Maybe. But see, I feel like John's ground game is so good that it plays a factor in that. Because, I mean, if they're going to stand and bang, see, I feel like John could.
He can't stand and bang with Ngannou. He'll go to sleep.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think that Ngannou wins the stand and bang match, but I think that John will probably get that fight to the ground. I think it'll look a lot like the Stipe fight, where Stipe, like, John survives the shots, and then Stipe, or John in this case, will find a way to get him down, and then he'll probably continue to do that for like the next 4 rounds. If John is to win the fight, I think that's how it'll happen.
I feel like there's going to be a scenario where Jones is like, oh, he's there to be hit. Because, like, if you watch that Stipe fight, there are a couple times where Stipe just, like, super fast, explosive, just won right down the middle. Like, he throws a right hand, just a straight right hand power punch that comes out of, like, nowhere. But it's not a loopy punch. It is like a boxer, bam. And you can tell that Francis is stunned. But at that point, Stipe realizes that he's got him to where he's just loading up on one shot.
Uh-huh.
And he's just trying to avoid getting taken down in his exhaustion. So his hands are down, and he's like, I'm going to punch him right in the face. But Ngannou was never hurt from those. Like, he never was doing the stanky leg. He just ate it. And I feel like Jones would be like, he's not just going to eat mine. And then he would eat it. He would eat it. I don't think that John Jones is going to land a more flush, down the pipe, harder, straight right hand than Stipe. I feel like when Stipe hit him, that's going to be harder than what John Jones throws. Now, what Jones might do is be like, I'm going to spin in with an elbow. Like, I'm going to have a full-on, like, rotation.
Yeah, John will have more unorthodox striking like that than Stipe did.
But he usually uses that. He did that against Gustafsson.
Yeah.
I feel like he wasn't afraid that Gustafsson was going to one-shot him. I feel like if he got in that position that Junior wound up in, getting crumpled with that weird, his back is to him and he punches him across the face.
Yeah.
I feel like Gustafsson doesn't finish Jones from that. Like, he puts him in a weird spot, but he just turns around.
Right, and probably, like, gets the underhooks. And
it's like,
clinch for
I'm
a little
okay.
bit.
Yeah, I made a mistake. And it's like, no, you're dead if you do that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a way that Ngannou might catch him if he got cute. But I sort of feel like John Jones would just like push kick his knee backwards and eye gouge him for like a round until he gassed and then take him down and Shane Carwin him, storm triangle him or something.
Yeah. Well, to answer John's question, I kind of think that Francis will. Like, it's one of those things on how I think that like Adesanya will be the next middleweight champion, because it's not that I think that he's a better fighter than Robert Whittaker is. I just feel like he is. It's kind of like the heart versus mind thing. Like that one with the Adesanya and Ngannou, I'm siding with my heart and that they're going to get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably going to be proven wrong, but I'm going to say that on air in case it does happen. So with Francis, I think that I'm optimistic that his wrestling's gotten better, even though we have no idea at all on his wrestling or cardio since the Stipe fight. I'm just optimistic that it has, and in that I'm going to say that he will be the champ, the next champ.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know how it'll play out, but that's my pick, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm going to stand with it. So be loyal to it like we were just talking about.
I feel like he's just too one-dimensional.
See, that's what I want to see. I want to see somebody test his ground game now, because I want to see if it's the same. Like, surely it's not. Surely that Stipe fight taught him lessons.
Yeah, don't
Like,
get taken down.
Yeah. Well,
Don't
hopefully,
get taken down and hit him harder.
I want him to turn into a Chuck, where like his wrestling is so good and he can just sprawl. To where it's like, yeah, you're not going to take the fight to the ground. Like, I have good wrestling, but I'm just going to use it solely defensively.
But see, he can only do that for so long. Like, the reason he can be Chuck Liddell is because of his body type. Like, unless you are Brock Lesnar, you're going to gas. Even Brock Lesnar is going to gas. Like, it's just going to take him way too long. You're going to be like, why is he still doing this? But like,
That's Brock, baby.
Yeah, because he's on drugs. But because he tested positive.
Yeah. Well, because it's Coors Light, not Bud Light. That's why. Bud Light, he would gas.
It's because he can do a shooting star press off the top rope and walk on his hands and weighs like close to 300 pounds. You know, I mean, that's something. But I think that Ngannou, he can learn to sprawl and keep someone off of him for 5 minutes. But I feel like if he ever unloads, if he ever is like, I'm getting him, the way that he was against Stipe, when he was like, I'm just going to let it all hang out and kill him, he couldn't do what Stephen Struve did, because Struve took his time and just kind of held him there. And Ngannou went crazy and was like, I'm just going to overpower him. And it didn't work out.
Yeah, Stipe's got a chin.
The fireman was still standing there. Yeah. And Ngannou didn't have that Dutch power. the touch of the Dutchman.
Yeah. So it sounds like the real fight to make is Struve needs to come out of retirement and fight Ngannou.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
That's the answer to your question, John.
Yes.
Struve versus Ngannou.
Yeah.
All right. The second question comes from @DavidD1226 on Instagram, who, by the way, has been a follower of us since the very beginning. So, David, we really appreciate it. He's messaging me a lot on social media, so I'm really thankful for that. He says, does Francis deserve title shot?
Yes.
I think we're both in agreement, short and sweet. Yes, he does.
Francis deserved title shot. Yes, he does.
Francis deserved title shot. All right, so getting into the news for this week around the MMA world, we're introducing a new segment called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So instead of just like boringly reading you guys the news, I wanted to put it in kind of a segment format. So it's worded, like we're going to read the news, and then there's going to be a question about it that we have to answer. Is this good, bad, or ugly? So the first one that came out this week, which this is all major news. Obviously, there's a ton of news that happens, but this is our top 4 headlines from this week. It starts off, Sean O'Malley will not be at UFC 239 after they found traces of ostarine showing in his drug test, which is believed to be residual. So, Ben, my question for you is, does Sean O'Malley being pulled from UFC 239 due to the test being like residual findings, while John Jones was allowed to fight UFC 232, I think it was? Does that make the UFC look good, bad, or ugly?
Is he clean right now? Is Jones clean right now? Or are they still showing up is he still testing positive for the stuff that was surging in his system from however long ago?
Yeah, so from what at the time of this recording, I have not heard that there's any traces left of him going into UFC 239. So as I know right now, he's clean. But at UFC 232, he was allowed to fight because they moved to California. Yeah, because it was residual. And so that's what O'Malley's is being brought forth as. That's residual from his past USADA.
Yeah, but is he going to bring the state money? Because the rule is the rule until it's going to bring the state money.
Right. So, yeah, that leads me right into the question. Does that make the UFC look good, bad, or ugly?
It makes them look bad, but they don't. It makes them look ugly, too, in the way that, like, yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I would definitely say that's ugly. Because, I mean, it's obviously showing,
favoritism.
Yeah, favoritism. I mean, it's all for money in the end.
It's like what we were talking about with all the stuff with Conor. Conor and Jones can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson can do whatever he wants. There's always been you can do whatever you want as long as you're a bad man that puts people in seats and pay-per-views.
Yeah, you do have to back it up with your fighting, and that's something I wanted to talk to you about.
Well, like, you remember when the whole Ray Rice thing happened in the NFL?
No. How long ago was that?
This was
I know who Ray
3
Rice is,
years ago.
Okay, explain.
He hit his now wife, I guess.
Oh, yeah, in the elevator?
Yes.
Yeah,
And he got
that.
suspended, but then the footage came out of it, and everyone went crazy because they didn't know what it looked like when a man hit a woman. And it's like, dude, he could have killed her. And it's like, yeah.
That's why men don't hit
professional
women.
athlete, grown man hits a woman. Yeah, she's probably going to have facial reconstruction surgery. You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's what it looks like. And everyone's like, oh, it's terrible. And the reason that Ray Rice's career went away was not because he hit a woman in an elevator. It's because he averaged under 3 yards a carry his last year. Like, it's not because he did this horrible thing. That's just the excuse that his career was done anyway.
Yeah.
He was problematic, so they didn't give him another chance. Pac-Man Jones did everything. And they were like, well, that guy runs like a 4.3 and can return punts. We're going to let him do whatever he wants.
Right. Because he's going to sell jerseys. So at the end of the day.
Because he's popping rubber bands.
Yep. Good old Pac-Man Jones. But that point is something I wanted to talk to you about. I feel like a lot of times people will like discredit fighters just because of their bias. So mainly I see this with like Colby, Conor, and John Jones. So just because people hate those people, it's like they're terrible athletes, like they suck, all this stuff, especially Conor right now, which probably just comes from me being a Conor McGregor fan. But like I understand where they're coming from, but I feel like the MMA community doesn't do a good job of separating I don't like this guy with this guy can still be a good fighter even though I don't like him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, like, here's the thing with Conor that people kind of misstate. It's not that Conor is a terrible athlete. It's that Conor's cardio is terrible. Conor doesn't have good cardio. No, he doesn't have the cardio of a Diaz or a Khabib, at least when he's on the bottom of Khabib.
Yeah.
Who knows what Khabib's cardio would be if he was constantly getting mauled? Like, I don't know. I don't know that he could handle that for 4 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, we've never seen it.
Yeah, it's never happened to him. You know? And, like, yeah, Conor isn't outrunning triathlons, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah, Diaz is going to have better cardio. Diaz also can't punch as hard. Like, there are drawbacks to each side of this.
Right.
You know? Like, if you take away his power, Diaz is never going to beat Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I
don't
really
think so
don't think
either.
so. I think that Diaz probably gets his legs crippled in that fight.
Yeah. Especially if it's the old Jose, the one that threw a lot more leg kicks. Because that's exactly what I was thinking if them two were to fight.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it'd be kicky. I feel like you would kick him because he's so long.
yeah.
And Jose should be at 145. And Diaz should be at 170.
Yeah. Which he is now coming back to fight Pettis. But we'll talk about that
Yeah,
closer
absolutely.
that fight comes
Yeah.
to. So the second piece of news is Colby Covington and Robbie Lawler got booked for UFC on ESPN 5 August 3rd in New Jersey, which we totally disagree on this one. But Ben, I'm going to ask you, since Colby didn't get the title shot he was hoping for, is the decision to not like wait out any longer and fight Robbie Lawler going to end up good, bad, or ugly for him?
Great. It's wonderful. It's what every fighter should do. It's what is good for... See, Colby and Chael and people like him get it because they're playing their role. They understand this is the entertainment era. And one thing about Chael, love him or hate him, he showed up. And he was going to fight. And he talked and talked and talked and talked, but he was going to fight. And that's awesome. That's how you gain respect, being a character, the way that Chael was or the way that Colby is trying to be.
Yeah.
Like that Ralphie Dos Nacho stuff is hilarious. Ben Askren's Marty from Nebraska stuff, hilarious. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like...
Wait, have you heard Marty's name from Colby?
Mm-mm.
It's Marty Fake Newsman.
Marty Fake Newsman.
Yeah, or Marty, I think Snoozman is the other one. I think it's Fake Newsman is the one that he's going with. You guys can comment if I'm wrong about that.
I mean, I feel like Colby is... Colby's like Chael in like almost like an idiocracy world.
Yeah.
No like offense to Colby. Like I totally realize that he is doing a good job with what he's doing. He was in the Oval Office.
I know, that's so crazy.
Like yeah.
And the first fighter too that we're aware of. That's what he said. He was the first fighter to ever make it, like, to the president.
The first MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Like there's that thing where Joe Louis is in the Oval Office.
Yeah. I'm an
and
MMA fighter.
One of the most like racial moments of like, because black people didn't have certain rights in this country, but our president is like grabbing Joe Louis's muscle and is like, that's the strength. Because Joe Louis relinquished the title to go fight in World War II, I think, or World War I. I don't know. I got to do my history.
I'm sure
better.
it was World War II.
It was
because of the year.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, because he beats the Nazi. He beats Schmeling.
I'm not gonna know.
Yeah. Well, Joe Louis loses the belt to a Nazi at like the beginning of World War II. Yeah. And then he beats the Nazi in like New York.
Oh.
Yankee Stadium. Sell out. They sold out Yankee Stadium for this boxing match. And yeah. But
Gotcha. So where were you going with that?
Joe Louis
Oh yeah, he made it to
met
the White
the
House.
president.
I gotcha.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I understand that you're saying it is a good tactic for Colby to take the fight, but how do you think the fight will end for Colby? In his hopes of eventually becoming a champion, will that look good, bad, or ugly?
He has a belt. He's a
Well,
champion.
kinda. Yeah. I mean, Colby says this is his first title defense.
Right.
Is against Robbie Lawler, but he did get stripped of it. He got the Tony Ferguson treatment. Like in the books, he was champion and then he got stripped.
That's not.
And I hate that it's that
terrible.
way. Whether you like Colby or not, it shouldn't be that way. Same thing as it was for El
They
Kukui,
should say the thing that they say about whenever they announce Tyson Fury, they're like, he's the lineal heavyweight champion of the world.
Yeah.
Like some stuff went down and he doesn't have those belts anymore, but no one took them from him. And that's what I would say if I was Colby. I would carry that belt.
That's the shtick
and
that
I'd
he's
be
going
like,
with.
yeah, come and take it because this is mine and I'm the champion. And just because I got hurt or fights fell apart or Marty won't fight me, that's what I would say, even if that's completely a lie.
Yeah. That's kind of been what he's going with.
Yeah, if you're Colby, you're like, Marty's scared and his terrorist manager is trying to assault me in like a casino.
Yeah.
And, just say all that stuff, even if it's not true. You got to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's the character that you got to play.
But you also have to show up and fight Robbie Lawler. The same thing that Ben Askren did.
Yeah.
The same thing that the other talker did. It's like, all right, well, back it up against a guy that is not a talker. He's a doer.
Yeah. So do you think that Robbie's kind of moved into a gatekeeper position? Like, is that kind of the vibe that you're getting from these past two fights? Because it's like, oddly he is, but he's not.
I think that he's kind of been moved into I think that he was brought in to prove a point on Ben Askren, and he almost did.
Yeah.
Like, I think that they thought it was going to go the way it went until all of a sudden there's a bulldog choke. They're like, oh,
crazy.
What? Yeah.
Still crazy. Still like mind-boggling how that all played out.
And I think that they had planned on, once that happened with Robbie, they were like, it's a fluke. Till will get him. Till one punch him. And he's too big.
And then Game Bread came through.
Yeah. And now here's Masvidal. And it's like, well.
Yeah. 3-piece Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually like, okay, here's what I mean by this. Like, I'm a Colby Covington fan in the same way that I'm a Dylan Dennis fan. Like, I think that it is so funny watching those guys, like, seeing how angry people get at them. It's not that, like, I would say I'm more of a fan of Colby's fighting style because he's actually proved that he's elite.
Yeah.
But the thing with Dylan Dennis, like, it makes me happy to see how frustrating. Like, I can read the feelings of people on Twitter, just like, oh my god, like I hate this guy. Like, I'm ready for him to be out. I hate everything that he's saying. I hate his leopard print trunks, like all that. I'm just like, this is so funny that like they care so much about this guy, and that's why I'm kind of like, I'm a fan of what he's doing.
Well, like,
does that make sense? Because, like, I'm a fan of GSP as somebody that, like, I want to put my time and attention into in a totally different way than I would say I'm a fan of Dylan Dennis.
okay, so, like, here's the difference. Here's why I hate him and I hate MVP and I hate people like that. Is because I feel like, yes, they're super talented, but they're not as talented as they think they are. And they never fight anybody who's going to show.
Cans.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, well, okay. And I mean, MVP, it's fair to say that he started progressing and then he got taken out.
Yeah.
Lima. Yeah.
Yeah.
He fought someone who had proper footwork. Francisco Gonzalez showed you it. I swear, because it's that weird split decision where two judges scored it 30-27 MVP, one judge scored it 30-27 Gonzalez. Because it was like he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
It was just them circling around. It's like, I guess he landed more leg kicks or like little tappy taps.
Mm-hmm.
But like that doesn't count really.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like that's why I hate people like that. I hate somebody that's like, I'm the greatest in the world. Let me show you by beating up this inferior person. You know?
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of like a wrestling squash match. Like you're watching Saturday Morning in the 90s and they're going to bring out some guy you've never heard of with his real name to fight The Undertaker. It's like, well, he's going to die. And it's like, well, hey,
Yeah.
like on Bellator's promotionals, they'll be like featuring Dylan Dennis. They don't even say who's fighting. It's like, well, why don't I just watch like an instructional DVD? You know, why don't I just watch the press conference? That's all this is. Like, it's not even legit, you know?
Yeah,
and
but see, that's what I mean by that. Like, that's what I'm a fan of. And I think that's so funny. Like, I'm not literally a fan. Like I said, I would literally like classify myself as a fan of like Connor or George St. Pierre or Donald Cerrone, something like that, where I'm actually invested in that person. I want them to win. With Dennis, Colby, not Chell, because I was going to say him, but like those people in that category, I'm a fan of how funny that is and how it infuriates so many people.
Well, like,
That's what I'm a fan of. And I'll leave it at that.
I guess. I mean, like, I think it's foolish to like allow it to continue into eternity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It'd be like if Muhammad Ali just never left like Kentucky and just styled on people in Kentucky and was like, I'm the best boxer in the world. And it's like, well, why don't you go fight some people that are also good?
Yeah.
We would know. And it's like, well, because Scott Coker wants me to do this.
Yeah.
I know the analogy.
And then he'll
falls
match
apart.
Aaron Pico up with
Yeah,
a killer.
See, like that's the funny thing is like whenever you have all these people fighting scrubs, you have Kimbo Slice Jr. and you have Kimbo Slice Jr. and then you have Pico. That it's like, yeah, they're fighting scrubs. They're fighting people that they should style on, and they're losing because they're not cut out for this. They have all of the like physical attributes, but it doesn't add up to them winning. So it's
Right.
like, well, all right then. Yeah.
All right. 2 more pieces of news. We have Jose Aldo signed an 8-fight contract in the UFC. Ben, what will the next 8 fights look like for Jose Aldo? Good, bad, or ugly? Oh, and by the way, my answer to the Colby versus Robbie fight is that it's going to look good for Colby because he's going to wrestle Robbie Lawler to a decision.
Robbie's going to win. Robbie's going to upset the apple cart because of the way that he's going to win.
But moving on to Aldo.
Aldo, good for him. I want him to get paid. I feel like he really got the shortest end of the stick in the Connor train.
He did.
He deserved a rematch, and he'll never get
did.
one.
Nope. No world does he get one.
Yeah.
I don't think at this point. I'm like you. I think it'll look overall good for Jose. I don't think that he's going to be fighting any super top tier guys. I think he'll kind of remain around that, like probably 6th or 7th in the rankings. Winnable fights. He'll probably lose a couple, but overall I think he'll look good. I think that's kind of crazy that he signed 8 fights. I thought he was close to retiring, but apparently that narrative was wrong. And I guess it'll be cool to see Jose Aldo still competing for the next couple years.
Yeah.
And then finally, our second favorite man, other than Matt Hughes, BJ Penn, gets into a fight with a bouncer.
Yeah, I sent this to Seth.
Yeah. Now my question for you is, how would you describe the fight against BJ and the bouncer? Good, bad, or ugly?
From what I've gathered of it, apparently BJ bounced him, but why? Why is this happening?
I'm guessing that's ugly.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Yeah, it's going to be an ugly for me too. So
I'm going to say that like 95% of like guy who used to fight in the UFC, like anybody who fought in the UFC before 2005 that we have a news story about is going to be ugly.
Yeah.
It's going to be ugly, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Well, the final segment, sorry about that. The final segment of the show is our UFC 239 picks with MMA Marks. We're really thankful that those guys chose to join us, so you can hear all of our picks in that. So now we're going to head over to that.
MMA Marks, what's happening, guys?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good. How about y'all?
Oh, we're living life down here in Baltimore, enjoying the crabs.
Good. Yeah, y'all are always eating crabs on fight night. What's up with
Oh,
that?
It's the
love it.
best. It's the only thing that you can eat with watching the fights. Wings, they're all right, but crabs is the best.
Susan said we always do wings. We go out to Buffalo Wild Wings most of the time for pay-per-views. So
Yeah.
That's awesome. We used to do that too. But then, kids and whatnot.
Understandable.
yeah, I was about to say.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so for all the listeners out there, starting at UFC 237, we challenged Ricky and Buddy to a little pick'em game that we do for pay-per-view cards. We're doing an individual contest and a team versus team contest. So there's 4 categories that we have to pick for every card. It is a lock, main event, co-main event, and underdog. And as the last UFC, we have Team Fight Addicts is at 51 and Team MMA Marks is at 59. And the overall leader right now is Buddy from MMA Marks. So congrats to you guys so far. Kind of kicking our butts at the moment, but we'll see how things go after this pay-per-view. So
Ain't not going to change, yo. Ain't not going to change.
Terrence Howard back at
Keep the
it.
momentum going.
Oh, dang. You're in last place.
Yeah, yeah. Since you always have the scoreboard right now, so use it while you can.
That's right. We're going to talk some shit.
Good.
It's like an Arena League football game right now. 59-51. We're going into the third quarter, everybody.
That's right.
All right, so getting into our locks. You guys are the guests. We're going to let y'all go first. Who do you have for your lock for UFC 239?
For you got your lock?
So we didn't really discuss this too much, but as much as I hate to do it, I'm gonna have to go with John Jones as my lock.
Uh-oh. Now, you've been predicting Thiago Santos to win. I've listened to the podcast and checking you out on Twitter.
Yeah, but
I've been seeing a bunch of Santos tweets. Changing your mind?
if I was betting money,
Reality set in.
if I was betting money,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick John Jones.
Okay.
But my heart says Thiago Santos.
I got you.
My heart says that Jens Pulver is undefeated, but that is not the case.
Well, hey, like you see that I learned to
Yeah.
forget my heart even exists.
Yeah. All right, Ricky, what you got?
I've been going back and forth with everything, and
This is the downfall of our.
right here, this could make or break us on this one.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go crazy, and be
hold on. If you're wrong, you were -10 for that.
Oh, I'm aware.
Okay.
I'm aware.
Okay. I just don't want to pick something stupid.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah, as much as I want to see this outcome differently, I'm gonna say Amanda Nunes is my lock.
Okay. That's
a good choice.
a pretty confident pick. Ben?
Yeah,
Not so sure about that one.
yeah. I'm not so sure about that one either, but whatever.
Really?
Oh god.
Okay, we'll get into that more when we talk about the co-main event. But Ben, who you got for your lock?
My lock is going to be Michael Chiesa to defeat Diego Sanchez.
I like that.
See, I think it's kind of risky as a lock. Like, I have Chiesa winning too, but Diego's been on a little tear. I don't think it's enough to beat Chiesa, but I mean, he beat Mickey Gall. Who was the guy that he beat before he beat Mickey Gall?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He kissed him on the mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really happy that he's not with Greg Jackson anymore. Like, I'm pulling for the guy as a dude. I want nothing but the best for Diego Sanchez. But I think that he is outclassed in this fight and definitely outsized. Chiesa's huge compared to him. And I just don't think that Diego's not going to land like a one-punch fluky knockout. And if they start rolling around on the ground, Chiesa's going to tappy tap him.
Now,
Yeah.
has Diego said anything about Chiesa's mom yet?
I don't know.
That could play into the fight. You know, if he's,
Yeah,
Got
that
his
could go in
mom, too.
Diego's favor that way.
yeah. So mine, I have to agree with Buddy. When John Jones on the card, he's almost always going to be my lock. So I'm taking John Jones. That's my lock.
Yeah, you know how I feel about John Jones.
I'm really pulling for Sanchez and Nunes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Main event. Who you guys got?
Oh, the main event?
Actually, no. Let's build up to the main event. Let's go underdog.
Okay.
Who you guys
Well,
got for underdog?
Okay, I'm going to go different than your lock, opposite of your lock, Ben. And I'm going to say Diego Sanchez is my underdog.
Uh-oh.
Good. That's what I like to
that's-
hear, sir. It's
That's what
easy
I'm
money.
gonna
Let me see the matchups.
say. Okay.
Always like a Diego Sanchez underdog.
Yeah,
Oh.
because I mean, honestly, I was going to choose that too, but I don't want to have the same as him strategy wise.
Yeah, for me, it was a toss up between Sanchez and Arnold Allen, and I'm just gonna have to go with the crazy guy in the end.
But I
Yeah.
thought that Arnold Allen was the favorite.
That's what I was going to
Is-
say.
Who's he fight? Where's it say? Gilbert
He's
Melendez.
fighting
Okay.
Gilbert Melendez.
Oh, he's the favorite in that? I thought
Yes.
he'd be the underdog. Oh,
We had basically the same conversation before it came on the air. I said, "Oh, Gilbert Melendez is fighting. You might want to pick who he's fighting as the underdog because they're probably
Right.
going to beat him." And then,
right.
and then Seth was like, "He's a plus 300 like underdog himself," and I was like, "Okay, don't pick Gilbert Melendez as the underdog because he's going to lose. He's going to lose."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's 300. Holy shit. Real quick, Sean O'Malley is not fighting, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. He's on. I've looked at two different sources, and they still have him on the fight card, which is beyond me. But whatever. Have they replaced that with a fight yet?
Nope. There's no replacement.
Who's
Okay.
You got to
Who's
just
the
go to a putt-putt course and find one of those punch machines and watch Sean O'Malley set the high score.
Yeah.
all right? Look, I got a question. Who's the favorite in because we don't have that access to that right now.
Yeah.
But who's the favorite in Jorge Masvidal and Ben Askren and the Luke Rockhold Jan Blachowicz fight?
Ben Askren is the favorite, and Luke Rockhold is the favorite.
Luke Rockhold's the favorite?
Luke Rockhold,
All right.
he's a small favorite. Blachowicz is a plus 140.
This is going to save us, buddy. Come on.
I want to bet against Ben Askren.
That's it. Yeah, we were talking about that too before we called you guys.
Oh God,
Oh,
man,
come
these
on,
fights are so like.
So far, that bet has been wrong 19 times and been right 0 times as far as betting
Yeah.
against Ben Askren.
Yep. Unless it's a wrestling match.
Yes, that is correct, sir.
Who are you more confident with, Ricky?
I'm-
On Jorge and Jan Blachowicz.
I'd be more confident with Jan because Luke Rockhold ain't got a damn chin to save his
And his
life.
legs been kind of messed up
Right.
and everything. Okay, we're gonna go with hopefully the safe bet and pick Jan because I would have picked Diego Sanchez too, but that was he picked that first.
That's fair. Ben,
You
I
like
guess,
our process?
I like
Yeah.
I like Diego Sanchez, and I like that you can't break him.
That is true.
yeah.
I think you can choke him unconscious, though. And that's what I
Yeah.
think. That's what I think that Kies is going to do to him. I think Kies is going to take his back and choke him unconscious.
He's got to get him down first.
But
Who did Chiesa fight last? Was it Kevin Lee, or did he
Yeah.
fight somebody since then?
He was supposed to fight.
Then he
Kevin Owens,
got
wasn't
choked
No.
unconscious his last fight.
He beat Carlos Condit.
but it's against Kevin Lee, though. What do you think Kevin Lee would do to Diego Sanchez?
Take an ass whooping.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He'd take an ass whooping real quick.
No, Chiesa's last fight was against Carlos Condit, I'm pretty sure. 'Cause he
Oh,
beat
Yeah,
Condit.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be kind of.
Come on, just let me live that. Let me have that one.
Yeah, I'll let you. All right, I guess that's an easy pick for you to transition to, Ben. Since you're underdog pick.
Yeah, I pick Jan, man. I agree with you.
That just eliminated one of ours.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, like, I thought about going somewhere else, and I'm like, no, there's not really anything else I'm as comfortable with as being like Luke Rockhold should not be considered a number one contender for the light heavyweight. Like, he's going to get murdered against John Jones.
Oh, absolutely.
He has less of a chance against John Jones than Anthony Smith did.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
got to go
I
back to,
agree
like,
with that.
Stephen Bonner or, like, Matt Hamill. Like, people that John Jones beat.
Hey, don't sleep on that Hamill rematch. It's coming.
Yeah, that was good.
Maybe Biden will rematch him after he loses to Jan Blachowicz. They'll rematch at 205.
Who's going to rematch?
I was saying maybe Wyman will get his rematch at 205 after he loses to Jan Blachowicz.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Hopefully he knows not to throw some back kicks in that fight.
Think he learned his lesson.
Yeah, never go full Weidman.
Yeah.
You know, Vitor was just like somewhere just shooting like testosterone into himself, watching him try and do what Vitor did to Luke Rockhold. Like I just remember them sticking a mic in Luke Rockhold's like concussed face, and all he could say was, he threw a freaking spinning wheel kick. Like, he knocked me out with a wheel kick. Like, it's like, yeah, man. Whenever he's on drugs, he's unstoppable. If you let
That's
Vitor
true.
get juicy, it's ridiculous. And then if you put him in shoes, it's just scary.
Oh my God, yeah.
We used to say that it was a needle etched into his head because he would have like a cross.
Yeah.
That's good.
We were like, "That's not needle. That's not no cross."
It's coming to one, baby. Have you seen
yeah.
pictures of him? He's in one now.
Really?
Look at his like Instagram and compare his body like now to like 3 years ago whenever he was in UFC. It's just like, oh wow, yeah, we're back on the testosterone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Oh yeah, Chatri's gonna line him up to get killed though. He's been doing that with all the U.S. fighters,
That's true.
showing
He
off
has-
his Asian guys.
Well, whatever. I got you. He was
Yeah.
big and
If you can do that, I don't think you can do that against juiced Vitor. That's probably not the best way to show off your guys, is to stick him in a cage with somebody who's not being drug tested, named Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, I guess unless you got a really juiced up Asian.
Yeah, we
He
saw that
better,
with Sage
he better be a
Northcutt.
wrestler.
Yeah, that's true. You better be. I don't know who they got one.
I think going back to the underdog pick, since we went down a rabbit hole.
Went down the correct rabbit hole. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with talking just about Vitor. But I think that Rockhold's going to win. But there's not really a lot of underdogs that I'm seeing that have more of a chance than Blachowicz. So I think that he's going to be my underdog too. Just from looking at the entire card.
this
I hope
is
Sanchez
interesting.
whips ass and Jan just shits the bed.
This is an interesting picks.
Sanchez was almost fine, but
But see,
going
like,
Blachowicz.
we have to play this honestly. And on this one, it feels like there are some really obvious things. Like, the main event or the co-main event should be the lock, because those are according to Las Vegas, those are the biggest lots. Those are the ones that are, you know what I'm saying? Those are the obvious things. I feel like Diego Sanchez has overperformed, and he was done like 10 years ago. Maybe not 10, but like 5 years ago, he should have been retired. But he's just hung around.
Man ain't got no heart. He's just like fuck Sanchez.
Pretty much. It's just turned into like a roast Diego Sanchez podcast.
No,
It's
it's
all right.
the thing
All right,
is,
because a psychopath will always triumph.
is this like an ICP reference or what's going on?
No. I don't even listen to ICP.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
I just was a psychopath. I don't know. But yeah, man. I don't think it's unfair to be like he has. Like if you look at Diego Sanchez's wins in the last 5 years, like name a lot of those names on there. If you watch that fight, you're like, he didn't win. He moved forward and got punched in the face.
He beat Mickey good, though.
Yeah, he beat Mickey real good, but I feel like the scale beat Mickey real good.
Yeah.
I think that I might have been able to beat Mickey in like the second round because he was just dying. Like you could see that he couldn't. He was so exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm picking Sanchez. I'm just making that official, but he's not on my like picks for this lock or underdog.
Yeah. Not
But I
worth
am
the
gonna
bet
be
money
picking
on,
him.
but you are. Yeah. I got you.
Strangely, even though everything I've just said, I hope he wins. Like I have nothing against him personally.
Okay.
Like it makes me kind of happy whenever someone overachieves. Like if he legitimately goes out there and beats Michael Chiesa, I'll smile and be like, "Good, I'm glad I was wrong." Keep carrying the cross, doing yes cartwheels, all of it. You know, you're the man. That's cool.
Yeah, he is.
Kind of like Alan with Jones.
But what
I'm hoping he loses.
Yeah, but what I don't want to have happen is what happened whenever Diego Sanchez fought Ross Pearson, and Ross Pearson outstruck him in every single round and then lost a decision. And it's like, well, what are you watching? I don't want that to happen. And I think
Yeah.
Chiesa is going to choke him out. That's how it's actually going to happen.
Well, hope not.
We'll see how it goes. All right, moving on to the co-main event. Obviously, we already know Ricky's because of his lock. I'm assuming that he's making the same pick for the co-main event.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Buddy, who do you have?
Oh God, she just came off an amazing win.
I
You know,
I want Holly to whoop her ass. I really do.
Hey, I'm with you, buddy. I'm not big on the Nunes train.
what do you think? You think this is so scattered? I don't know how to strategize with this. The strategy went out the window.
That's what happens on International Fight Week. You never know what to expect.
You know what? Them hands, man, of Amanda.
You're gonna go Nunes?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Amanda, man. She got them real heavy hands.
All right.
Yeah. It's hard to bet against, and that's why I'm not. I'm taking Nunes for that one.
And watch Holly kick her fucking head off.
Beautiful footwork and then a head kick.
Yeah.
Ben, I'm pretty sure you're agreeing
Nunes
with
is
me.
going to win.
All right, guys. Final thing. Main event.
Oh well, who did you guys pick Nunes across the board too?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Nunes
Oh,
is going to
okay.
win.
Nunes
Sorry.
across the board.
We heard you. I mean, well, I heard you.
I'm dumb. Whatever.
Turn up the hearing aids.
Got headphones on.
All right, moving
All
on
right.
to the main event.
Well, we know I'm picking Jones.
So pretty much it all comes down to Ricky. Are you going to take the risk of picking Thiago Santos? Are you going to go with the man, John Bones Jones?
Oh man.
I think.
Oh man. Look, since this is for a
Safe.
competition,
Safe.
I have to be safe and pick Jones as much as I hate that son of a bitch.
I like John Jones.
I do not. I think he's a piece of shit.
Ricky, I want to have a podcast one day where we just talk about like all the fighters that you hate.
Oh
I
my
want
god.
to because I know there's a couple. Like one, I don't know if you know this, but I'm like a pretty big Conor McGregor fan.
Oh yeah, get the hell out of here.
I mean,
Get the hell out of here.
yeah.
Hey, have you heard the story about the Floyd Mayweather-McGregor fight that Seth bought at his house?
No, they
And
haven't.
I told him, I said, he was like, it's just, we're going to have pizza. everybody's putting in $20, and I was like, I'm not putting in any money because I know what's going to happen. And then I said, listen, if McGregor loses, I will pay for everything, all of it. Or if McGregor wins, I'm sorry. If McGregor wins,
they're probably so
I'm sorry. I messed it up. Yeah, no. I was like, if McGregor wins, then I'll buy all of it. I don't care if it's like $200, whatever. Like, I'll pay for everything. But I know he's going to get smoked because he's fighting Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match. And it's not it's not at WrestleMania, so it's not scripted and he's not going to lose.
Was it not scripted? I don't know.
I think that
You think it was?
I think that it was more difficult than Floyd expected it to be to exhaust him. I think it took him more time than he thought it was going to. The ending was what he wanted to have happen. Other than Conor not falling down, like I'm certain that he would have rather him fallen down. But getting him to where he couldn't hold his hands up and couldn't defend himself, it's like, yeah, I win. And Conor was a lot bigger than him too. That should matter.
Oh,
Yeah.
And Conor's a lot younger than him too. That should matter.
It shows how good Floyd is.
It shows how advantageous boxing rules are to fighters.
Well, look,
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. When I watched the boxing match, I just put my little 2 cents in. I literally was laughing the whole time because I thought it was funny because Conor was doing such unorthodox striking compared to like any other boxing match.
Oh yeah, the rabbit punches in the back of the head, they were funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
Like it was like he was going for a takedown and everything at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's going for a DQ. Because that's the only way that ends without it ending the way it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. To wrap everything up, Ricky, did you write the picks down?
Yeah, you guys got. So we
Let's
have
let's
real
review
quick.
everything.
Run it back real quick.
Hold on. Did they pick Jones?
Yes.
You picked Jones across the board. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
they're not going to go against the grain.
Not going to
So-
go against what's going to happen.
Old
We'll
predictions.
see.
I'm still picking Thiago Santos on my podcast.
Yeah, we've had him picked
I know,
since
that's why
January.
I was hoping that y'all had him for this. I was like, finally going to get back in the lead, but we'll see how
That's
it
what I'm saying.
works out.
We ain't gonna let you get that much of a lead. You might get a lead off of this one though.
Yeah.
This is a toss up with a lot of picks.
Yeah, it is.
True. All right, so back to all the picks. Ricky, if you could read them for us.
All right, so the main event we have John Jones across the board, and the co-main event we have Amanda Nunes across the board. And our locks we have myself picking Amanda Nunes, Buddy picking John Jones, Ben picking Michael Chiesa, and you picking John Jones. And for the underdog, myself, I'm going with Diego Sanchez, and everybody else is going with Jan Blachowicz.
All right, sounds good. Now, before we wrap this segment up, where can all of our listeners find you guys at on like your social media and podcasts and all that?
Yeah, anywhere you guys find podcasts, just search MMA Marks, and all social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter is at MMA_Marks, and it's that simple.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Y'all know how much we appreciate this. It means a lot to us, especially just starting up, to have a little community of podcasters that we get to connect with. So thank you guys, and we'll talk to y'all after the fights. See how everything goes.
All
All right, guys. See ya.
Peace.
See ya.
See ya.